Welcome, everyone. Today is Tuesday, October 10th, 2023. This is a regular meeting of the City of Asbury Park Zoning Board of Adjustment. Chairman Avalone, will you please call this meeting to order?
I'd be happy to. Excuse me. This meeting is being held in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to the Coaster and Asbury Park Press by publication of the annual meeting notice and posted on the Municipal Bulletin Board and municipal website. All notices are in file with the Board Secretary. Official action may be taken on the following matters before this board. Fire exits are located on the east and west sides of the council chambers as well as the back of the building. I ask everyone with a cell phone to please mute it for the duration of this meeting. And this meeting is being recorded by APTV. Roll call, Marie.
Wendy Glassman? Here. Daniel Harris?
Here.
Russell Lewis?
Here.
Jill Potter?
Here.
Tim Slick is absent. Jose Alcaraz?
Here.
Vice Chair John Scully?
Here.
And Chairman Christopher Avalone?
Here. All right, before we get started, I'd just like to recognize the terrible situation that's happening in the Middle East right now in Israel. I ask everyone to please stand and recognize a moment of silence and reflection for the people of Israel. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Chris. Is that good?
Yep.
All right, so let's see, we have one housekeeping issue right now. We have the resolution for 138 Elizabeth Avenue. I make a motion to adopt the resolution.
Second.
So Christopher. John, got it.
Do you have the list, Marie?
I do, yes. Jill Potter?
Yes.
Tim Slick is absent. Russell Lewis?
Yes.
Wendy Glassman?
I can't vote on that one.
Vice Chair John Scully?
Yes.
And Jose Alcaraz?
Yes.
And Chairman Christopher Avalone?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, just mark that Wendy is recused.
Yeah, recused.
All right, so we have first 211 DeWitt Avenue. This is a continuation of a hearing we've heard
Right.
from 8:15. Before you get started, Jack, we have a couple of people that had to watch the
Right,
video.
that's what I was going to get into.
Yeah.
Russell has signed a certification. We're doing a certification now for Wendy. So both
Sorry.
members will be eligible to vote when the time comes.
Okay. So we shall proceed with this application. Mr. Cromer,
Good evening.
could you give us a quick recap of what we had in the previous meeting?
Yes, so we presented with an architect. The board had some comments. We went back to the drawing board and we made adjustments to the plans that we believe make the proposed home better fit the property. We decreased the number of bedrooms, we made the footprint smaller, and we increased the rear yard. The architect was going to present tonight, but he called me this morning saying that he's sick. So we can't proceed with his testimony. The next best thing that we can do is present with the engineer. The planner is here too, but if the board's preference is to hear architectural testimony first before hearing the planner, then we'll have to come back with the planner after the architect is better.
Well, it only seems like it makes sense to hear the planner's testimony after we get through the design of the building, wouldn't you say,
I
Mr.
can
Cromer?
appreciate that.
So I guess we'll deal with the engineering tonight?
Yes, sounds like a great plan.
Okay.
Sir, please raise your right hand. Solemnly swear testimony about giving this matter with the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Please state your name for the record and spell it.
Charles Surmont, Surmonte.
And I can move this along rather quickly. Are you still licensed to be an engineer in the state of New Jersey in good standing?
I am.
Mr. Servant's appeared before us on many occasions between both boards over the last 20
We accept your credentials,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Sermon. Please proceed.
Could you tell us about the plans that we prepared in connection with this application?
Yeah, I don't think, obviously, I got caught in Long Branch last month, so I didn't get to discuss the site, and I'm not sure the architect discussed anything more than his building, so if I could just briefly introduce you to the site.
Would that be another, is that an exhibit you're gonna testify from? You're gonna testify from a plan, correct?
This is the plan that was, I just windowed out my plan, but this is the plan that was submitted and referenced in
Okay.
Doug's letter of,
Just as long as you tell us the date on the one
Yeah.
that's submitted, as long as it matches that, it makes sense.
oh, yeah. I'm just going to refer to my plan, last revised September 18th, which was revised based on the previous board hearing.
13th or 18th?
18th.
18th.
Okay, the site, as you know, is relatively small, 25 feet by 75 feet, only 1,875 square feet. We're proposing a building that is approximately 18 and a half by about 50. We're proposing a driveway in the front yard to take a car off the street. The site's relatively flat. It does slope slightly from back to front, and we've modified our grading plan to ensure that all the runoff runs down to the street from the backyard. The building is only 800, the building as proposed is only 874 square feet. At that size, we can set up the gutter system so that we're going to bring the drainage from the entire building out to the front of the building. And then as proposed now, we've proposed a permeable paver driveway. Underneath those pavers, I believe I have about 14 inches of stone to provide the necessary storage associated with the runoff from the proposed building.
How are you handling the runoff of the building to the street, underground?
It's going to be piped into the underground, the stone bed below the driveway. The entire driveway and a portion of the walkway is proposed to be a stone
So all the
storage bed.
downspouts will go into a,
Yeah, we're expecting we'll have two at the front and we'll pipe them right into the stone bed. But there are a couple difficulties associated with that. I just want to go through them with you and obviously get your thoughts. We're proposing 1,143 square feet of impervious coverage. The site has no present or pre-existing legal coverage. So we do exceed your threshold of 1,000 square feet of new impervious by 143 square feet. So we're obligated to adhere to your ordinance or attempt to adhere to your ordinance. So I just want to tell you that a couple of the design difficulties we're having, even though we've proposed this system that we feel complies with your ordinance, we have an excessively shallow water table, only 41 inches deep. Typically, stone storage beds are required might be a strong word, suggested to be at least 2 feet above the seasonal high. Under the DEP regulations, they are required to be 2 feet above seasonal high. My stone storage bed, unfortunately, to provide enough storage volume, is only 1 foot above the seasonal high water. Mr. Cleveland also asked me to investigate any groundwater mounding impacts that this storage bed may have on adjoining properties in those dwellings. And I don't have precise infiltration rates for our soil, but I ran a couple of models today based on the range which I anticipate we would have when we tested it. And as you can see from my plan, the adjoining dwellings are quite close, and I was able to determine that each of those dwellings have basements, not basements, but they're half in the ground, half out of the ground. They have their basement floors about 4 feet below seasonal high, below grade, I should say, which puts them right about where we've determined the seasonal high water table to be. I spoke with one of the occupants of the building to the north, and he did indicate to me that, though he didn't show it to me, that he's got water in his basement. So when I ran a groundwater mounting analysis, unfortunately, I found that even under what we would consider the best case scenario from a groundwater mounting perspective, the possibility exists that the groundwater levels at the location of the two adjoining dwellings could rise anywhere from 6 to 8 inches. And that would make an already bad situation perhaps worse. I've heard a lot over the past week from people calling me and saying, I never saw water in my basement until my neighbor put in a swimming pool or did this, that, and the other thing. So there is the possibility, even I could say likelihood, that the groundwater levels would be affected and may affect the basements of those two adjoining dwellings. So while I'm proposing a slightly substandard system to attempt to comply with your ordinance, I also must say that at the same time, I think given the site limitations, the groundwater limitations, the proximity of the adjoining dwellings, and the fact that we're only about 140 square feet over the threshold by which we need to comply, that the board may consider waiving that requirement in this case.
Would you tell us about this swale here? Isn't there a swale?
Yeah,
Before you go on,
Yeah,
Mr.
okay.
Sermon, Doug, do you have, yes, go ahead.
Please raise your right hand. I'm actually Don as well. Swear testimony about to give this matter the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
I do.
Please state your names for the record and your affiliation with the board.
Donna Miller, board planner.
Doug Clowen, board engineer.
Thank you.
So I was going to ask Doug, do you have any suggestions on how to deal with this situation with this high water table and potentially causing basements from adjoining houses getting flooded? I'm not sure how to deal with that myself.
Yeah, I can certainly appreciate what Mr. Sermon is bringing up. We knew that based on the submitted plan that he was going to be around a 1 foot separation from the seasonal high water table. And he's absolutely right that typically we would like to see 2 feet. That helps to ensure that the stone storage remains free of water so that it can store the proper amount of water, even if the groundwater comes up a little bit. To me, actually, so I reviewed the ordinance, and the 2 foot separation is, as we know, this is a minor development, right? You mentioned the 1,000 square foot threshold. So it's a minor development, so that section of the ordinance applies. And I reviewed it prior to coming here, and it does not actually say in there that you need 2 feet of separation. That is in the major development portion of the ordinance, but not the minor. That being said,
That doesn't help your neighbors though, Doug.
right, so that being said, I don't think it's a good idea. I mean, I have not seen the mounting analysis. I have not seen what calculations he's ran. If it comes back that what he's saying is true, then I would agree. It seems like we're causing more harm than good. Certainly, typically we want to see, a good enough distance from either a dry well or permeable pavers of at least 10 to 15 feet, something like that. Seems like the neighboring houses are close here.
Right.
It sounds like they have some form of a basement, maybe a Yankee basement or something similar.
Right.
Because it's such close quarters, unless there's some other option, which I don't know that there is, then I am a little hesitant to recommend infiltrating at this point. So, the alternatives would be to simply get that stormwater from the roof out to the right of way as easily and simply and quickly as possible. I don't know that there's any real.
So you're saying there's no solution to this problem?
Can you, could you at least put half the roof in the ground? Is there enough room to do that?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear your
I'm
question.
sorry, I'm just wondering, okay, it's not a perfect situation, as the engineers testified, he doesn't have a perfectly designed system. How much roof can you store the proper way, might be the alternative. What's, if you can't store the whole roof, can you store half the roof? 90% of the roof? And the rest gets maybe just, flows to the street.
So you're proposing like a dry well? Is that what you mean?
Well, that's what they're proposing.
Yeah,
So, but he's saying, I can't store everything.
right.
It's too much between the groundwater. So I want to know, how much can you store? How much could you actually accommodate and not impact,
But we just had like 5 inches of rain.
Yeah, but their rules don't take that into account, right? Their rules are based on the normal.
Yeah, but all of us had water in our basements for
I know. Some of you still do, I think.
It could be worth looking at, so right now, looking at the plan, the proposed stone storage is underneath the entire driveway, right? And the driveway gets very close to the adjacent buildings, about 8 feet, maybe 5 feet in one instance.
That's about it,
So there's the possibility of, say, limiting the storage bed underneath to only the front portion of the paver driveway. That way there's more separation from those other houses, and it's, limited to increasing groundwater only outside of public right of way, where it's not gonna harm anyone. So that's something that their engineer could look at.
Are there solutions to this problem?
I think so.
Okay. And then that's what we need.
Yeah, we need solutions and options.
Right. Which is what I was getting at. It doesn't sound
Because
like.
the worst thing that could happen is we force other people to increase their water flow in their basements after having the storms we've all had.
Do we have any idea of the respective ages of the other neighboring houses?
They haven't provided any testimony on the adjoining properties, no.
So they're 100 and something feet over the 1,000, correct, the minimum?
142.
142?
Those are the proposed solutions.
Well, I'll just give you some perspective.
Could they just shrink that so you're under the 1,000? And then we don't have to worry about this?
Say again, please?
You're 142 over the 1,000?
Yes,
So shrink the structure so that your footprint is below that 1,000. I'm not telling you to do that, I'm just saying, is that an option?
understood.
Okay, thank you.
I'll just give you a little perspective on what we're looking to do here. The system is designed per your ordinance to hold, it's either 1.25 inches or 1.5 inches rain. I think it's 1.25 inches of rain over the impervious surfaces on the property. That's just straight storage. That doesn't account for the the infiltration of the water through the soil. So quite possibly if I modeled it using some infiltration, it probably has the capacity to hold at least 2.5, 3 inches of rain. Obviously if we were to just reduce the size of it, we would reduce the capacity of it by a similar percentage. So I haven't run the maximum storage contemplating infiltration, but normally I would expect, the soils are good, I would expect a good perm rate. Like I say, I would expect it to be at least 2.5 to 3 inches of storage capability over the entire driveway and roof area.
I think as some other board members have said, I think we need to see options. And I think everything should be on the table for you, whether that's shrinking it or running the numbers in a different capacity and having our board professional review them. But I think we would like to see some options because to board member Potters, we don't want to put 6 to 8 inches of water into somebody's basement and be responsible for that. And I don't think you do either.
I think we'll come back.
We need some more solutions.
We'll get them. We'll look for them. We'll look for them and we'll come back.
Thank you.
Any thoughts I should take home with me?
I would follow Jason's.
Doug?
I have one
Doug's-
minor suggestion too, just to limit, when that system does fill up, where's it gonna overflow? That's something we wanna see. And I think because the downspouts are in the front of the house, having like an overflow at the downspout locations would be a good detail to see on the plans as well.
Okay.
But yeah, I would consider potentially limiting the storage bed to maybe providing yourself some distance from those adjacent homes. I mean, ideally, we would want to see the groundwater.
At about 20 feet, it pretty much goes to no impact, but
20 feet.
between, 0 and 20, I'm
Right,
showing a little mounting.
okay. Well, you could feel free to submit that as well, I'll take a look at it.
Mhm.
So another question I have for you, Mr. Sermon.
Yes.
Where are you putting your mechanicals?
Well, the building's on slab, I honestly don't know.
Well, the AC units.
Oh, you mean the exterior mechanicals?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I thought you meant the inside.
Isn't that your bailiwick?
Yeah, it is, I was just thinking,
I'm sorry.
When people
I
say
thought I was talking
mechanicals,
to
I think, yeah. Well, the only exterior mechanicals are what we're showing is the 2 AC units at the back of the house. Side yard's only 3 feet and change, so.
Okay.
We felt, obviously, the rear of the house was more appropriate.
And yeah, just to reemphasize too, if there's, the 142 square feet-ish, if the proposed impervious is less than 1,000, then there are no requirements in the ordinance other than making sure that we're not increasing flows to any adjoining properties of record. So,
Yep,
something else to consider.
been considering it, thank you.
Got it.
Yes.
I have no further questions for Mr. Sermon. Anybody else on the board? Board professionals, do you have any further questions? I will open it up to the public. Anyone in the public for Mr. Sermon's testimony? Okay, thank you. I would assume you're going to come back and give us some, yes.
Okay.
I didn't think I'd get out of here clean tonight.
Well, you opened it.
Just giving it to you straight,
You can't create a classic nuisance by spreading water onto somebody else into somebody else's place. No.
It's a tough lot when you're the last guy in, And when everybody's so tight.
So, Mr. Cromer, where would we go from here?
We have to regroup
Okay?
and I have to coordinate 3 professional schedules. It's challenging. That's the reason why I tried to come here with 2 and do my best to play the game that I was dealt. But I'm thinking that it's not gonna be next meeting because I'm gonna need him to revise. It's going to impact the architecturals if they choose to reduce it below the 1,000 threshold. So, how about sometime in November?
We have one meeting date in November.
So in terms of revising reports, Donna?
Yeah, so
If you look at
do
11.
revised plans, they need to be in our office on no later than October 24th for November 14th.
Just give it to AI. Figure it out.
It's
where it's going.
12/12. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
We're all going to the Matrix.
Yes, we are.
November 14th is the next date, Marie, is that right?
So October 24th is the next meeting, but we,
Right.
those deadlines are gone.
Right.
To meet it.
Right.
Then we have November 14th, which we would need everything done by October 24th, which.
And then the December date?
The December date will be December 12th. And
It's either November 14th or December 12th, Mr. Perlman.
Yeah, and I don't think you heard Donna's, the deadlines for submissions.
Oh,
I think, no, I think so. So you gotta know that.
So
Now
make that-
determine where you're going.
In order to make the November 14th meeting,
You have 2 weeks.
How much
yeah,
time
the
do you need to
24th, all that, everything is.
You know, it's just- I don't see 2 weeks, but you think you can do it in 2 days? Sure. You could bring it on 14th.
that would be,
Depends on timing.
You might want to choose the December
So
meeting.
December
Okay,
12th.
let's do the December 12th meeting.
1, 2, 3, we're looking at a November 21st.
And Carlton, just a note for your,
That's for Donna's reports, right?
We're trying to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not their reports.
So because it's a returning application, we are not applying the new. So that means that if they come back on December 12th, 1, 2, 3, November 21st, we would need everything in-house, November 21st. November 21st is the latest. Got it.
Okay.
and just an additional note for your
Yes.
architect, it appears that there's a discrepancy on the latest plans. On the front elevation of the house, there doesn't appear to be an outdoor deck, but on the plan for the second floor, there is an outdoor deck with chairs, so he just needs to clean that up and make sure it matches. Right? It appears that way, unless I'm wrong. Why are you looking at me like that?
I'm trying to picture it because we just shut everything down.
Oh.
I'll take a look at it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, so the front elevation shows,
Like a balcony.
The front elevation of the house
Yeah.
shows windows in the main bedroom.
oh yeah,
And on the plan for the second floor, it appears to be there's a front deck with chairs out there, what I would assume would need to be a door. So
Okay.
the architectural,
No, that's interior.
that's interior?
Yeah,
yeah, I think it's a sitting room.
it's like it's
Sorry.
not a window seat, but it's,
Okay.
it's just a little.
Never mind.
little-
Never mind. Great. I'm relieved to hear that. Thank you. There was one question I was going to ask your architect. Okay, that is not an outdoor sitting area. That is an interior sitting area. Got it. Wonderful. Thank you.
So I make a motion to carry 211 DeWitt Avenue to December 12th, 2023 without further notice.
I'll
So
second.
long as you'll consent to any extension of time needed within which to decide the case and then you
Yes.
will.
Second.
Seconded by Bill. Okay, so moving back to the 12 meeting. Okay, Wendy Glassman? Daniel Harris?
Yes.
Russell Lewis?
Yes.
Jill Potter?
Yes.
Jose Alcaraz?
Yes.
Vice Chair Don Scully?
Yes.
Chairman Avaloni?
Yes. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Thank you.
Don Scully, all in favor?
Aye.
Got it.